All right, first of all, why are you running for office?
About a year or so ago, I was approached by several people in the community and asked me to run for mayor. A unique situation has happened in Kentwood. This is the first time in quite some time that we haven't had an incumbent running. So it opened the door for some more opportunities for the citizens of the city to run for that office. So I looked at it, took a long, hard look at it, and decided to put my name in the hat, as they say.
What do you see as the biggest challenges facing the city of Kentwood?
Well, Kentwood has always been financially sound. We do very well with what we have. I think just as of late, and I think everybody's aware of it, is a big consolidation plan between our three cities, Wyoming, Kentwood, and Grand Rapids, and they had a big meeting about it last night as well. I'm not a proponent of consolidation, and I think after last night's meeting, I think a lot of other people are not. I think that's a challenge to keep our community safe, and I think that's what Kentwood wants, is they want good police and fire protection like what we already have.
So how do you meet that challenge?
Well, I think part of it is just still doing what we do, and part of it is not consolidating. We collaborate very well with other parts of the county, and we've done this for years, and it helps everybody. However, the taxpayers of Kentwood deserve to have service from their money, and by consolidating, I just don't believe that that's going to happen. We're going to be putting people at risk, businesses at risk, and we just can't go forward that way. We have a very highly sustainable public safety system. Our fire and police departments are funded by a millage, and they're very well managed. And if we stay on that same track, we should have no problem improving it and bringing better service to our citizens.
And that pretty much somewhat answers my next question about talk consolidation and where you land on this idea.
Right. I am not for consolidation. I don't know if you recall, but back in 1988, the city went to the same ICMA group did a study for public safety, which was combining fire and police within our city. At that point, we chose not to go that way as well. The city was not, the citizens were not happy about that, and they chose to vote for a millage instead and to improve our fire and police service. And I think that opinion still stands today. They're two different jobs. There's different ways of doing it. Different communities do it in different ways. Our way of doing business in Kentwood works very well for our citizens and for our community, and it prospers, and we're safe out there. And we don't have many fires, but the fires we do have are handled very quickly and efficiently, and we work to keep our community that way. So.
Open camera, open mic. What else would you like voters to know about you?
Well, I'm a citizen first and foremost. I have worked for the city for several years, so I know the citizens probably better than most of the candidates do. I've heard them speak. I've heard their complaints. I've heard what we do well in our city. I think they want change. They want things to be different. They want our city government to be friendlier, more accessible, and we need to work with people more. Our businesses, we have some empty storefronts in our city that we can definitely improve upon. We can work with business in our community. We bring that into our city. It brings services. It brings people to our community, and that's what we want. Same with the parks. We have beautiful parks. I'd love to see them prosper even more than what they do now. Just generally improve services for our citizens and our businesses as well. We need to to be friendly to business. We need to work with them, and I think I can do that. I'm running a campaign that's more of a ground-based campaign. I talk to a lot of citizens, small business owners, so they think the same way, and they want to see some change. They want to see some activity. Kentwood has one of the best school districts in the state of Michigan, and we need to promote that as well. It's a great community, great school districts, and great people that work in the city. So we need to keep that going in the right direction.
This takes us away from the campaign a little bit, but since you are running, I feel I need to ask this. You left the city, you resigned as a police officer.
Right. Yes.
According to your human resource department file, there was some accusations of police misconduct. What can you tell us about those?
Well, as a police officer, you get all kinds of accusations against you at different times. It's kind of coincidental of when it occurred, because I had put my hat in the ring and decided. Was that why I had left the department? Absolutely not. I had decided that I was going to retire and leave. Accusations are accusations, just what they are. They're not substantiated. My record is clear, and I had a great career at Kentwood, and I support my city and my police department, and a lot of people in the department support me as well.
Can you give us details on the accusations?
Well, not at this point. They're accusations. They're not sustained, and basically the investigation was not put in my personnel file. It was just all unsustained accusations don't go in our personnel files because that's what they are, accusations. It was not a completed investigation by any means, but I chose to retire because it was the right time to go.
The city is refusing to give us your personnel file. Would you sign off on a statement allowing us to see it?
No. That's my personnel file. My personnel file is what you've gotten. I don't have any discipline whatsoever in my file. So I have what you received is what I received as well, because I asked for my personnel file before I left as well. So allegations as a mainstream for police, they don't go in your personnel file. They're allegations. If they're sustained, yeah, there's something different. I mean, they'll show that I got disciplined or I did this or I did that, but I have no discipline or no sustained complaints against me in nearly 25 years. So.
You realize why we're asking, because you are running for mayor.
Right, absolutely. And I understand, and I understood that I was going to get my personnel records released. I knew that right up front before I even stepped in there. So, but
they haven't released the entire file, and that's what we're trying to see.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, and I understand. I understand that you're looking for the whole file. The whole file is historically that's what is released, is our personnel files. Anything above and beyond anything, I mean, that might be in there. I didn't even get, if there's something in there that I didn't even know about, I didn't receive it as well. So, but I didn't see anything in there, and it pretty much fits with my career and what's gone on in my career. So all those files are, and I think part of it is because that I'm not an employee with the city anymore. So that might be some of the issue, but I have no idea. I know FOIA, you're allowed to get so much information, and that's how it works.
So. Under law, we can get additional information that you signed off on.
Right. If you got a court order to do so. Right.
Mm-hmm. But you're declining.
I'm declining. Yeah.
Why?
I just don't think it's necessary. What's in my true personnel file is what my career was about, not allegations that were unsustained. I just think that that's, maybe a fishing expedition of sorts. Anybody can make a complaint, but getting it substantiated is another issue. So that's my thoughts about it. If I had discipline in there, I would be glad to show that to you. But I have no discipline on my record, none whatsoever. Never been disciplined for anything. I've got lots of awards, but and medals, but I have no discipline. And allegations are allegations. That's what they are. And I don't like to go on fishing expeditions, as they say, and make accusations against anybody or whatever. So I understand why the city does that, and most cities do that as well. So.
Obviously, the investigation was ended when you left the city.
Right.
So the investigation was not complete in that regard.
Right.
So there would be no findings in the allegations.
That is correct.
So should voters because the investigation never ended, there was no resolution to whether the allegations were something that could be substantiated or not.
Mm-hmm.
Should voters know what the allegations were because the investigation came to a early end?
No, I don't believe so. I believe that allegations are allegations. If the investigation would have continued and been completed, that's something different. But it did not, and they chose not to continue with the investigation. They could have very well continued with it, and like I've said before, if the allegations held any merit whatsoever, they would not have allowed me to retire. They would have disciplined me or terminated me. So, with that being said, allegations are allegations. I think it's better left unsaid because when there's allegations, there's always assumptions, and you're forever trying to the police are always trying to justify what they did or didn't do, or what they should have done, or what a citizen might have thought that we should have done, or whatever. And it's a tough road.
Don't you think it moves to a transparency issue though once you run for public office?
It does in a sense, but like I said, it's a allegation. If you go through everybody's record for allegations, I don't think it really gives anybody any justice. I mean, something that's proven or not proven, there's a difference. If you're, if it is a proven fact, that's fine. But this was an investigation that was started, and they chose to terminate it when I announced I wanted to retire. Now they could have said, well, they could have finished it up, and they could have said, no, we're going to terminate you instead. You're not eligible for retirement. So it could, it could have went that way if they wanted to do that. They didn't choose to do that, which tells me it was an allegation that wasn't going to get sustained, and it wasn't sustained. I have other investigations in my years of service that were not sustained, yet they're not in my personnel file. And that's the thing. Then you have years ago I had a complaint against me and it was not sustained, but this is what happened. And if it isn't sustained, then as far as I'm concerned, it didn't happen, or it didn't. There's not any validity to the complaint.
But that's one of the problems with this is there is no record that says this complaint was not sustained,
right?
Sustained. So.
Right.
Still
well, it's
out there.
Yeah. Well, it's
in a way.
In a way, but it's done. It's been closed. So they discontinued it, so it's an investigation that they closed out. For whatever reason that they chose to do that, that's what they chose to do. I chose to retire. We get allegations, we get complaints against us all the time on a daily basis, and there's just so many you could go on and on and on and on about the different things, and sometimes it makes you, look like, wow, he's got all these citizen complaints against him. My thing is, if you don't have some citizen complaints about you, then you're not out in the public and doing somewhat of your job. We're doing a job that not everybody's real popular with, and not everybody agrees with, and not everybody's going to be happy with what we do or we don't do. It's just they're false allegations. It's just, but that's something we have to deal with. So, all right.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank